I think you're muted, Nick. I can't hear you. Maybe it's me.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. All right. Wow, that's bad. I was talking for a good minute. With no audio at all. That's awful. We welcome
to the show.
As I said before, that you guys didn't hear. TJ won't be with us. He's dealing with some work stuff, so it's going to be just the two of us. We can make it if we try. It's been a very busy week in sports, the New York area, for all areas, actually. A lot of stuff going on this week. Tonight, Thursday night football. So the Bengals take on the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson, which has big implications for the AFC North. So this should be a pretty damn good football game tonight. Both the teams are very good.
I'm excited for it. It's about time we have a good Thursday night game. Two decent teams, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should be good.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's just get straight into it real quick. MLB did their annual awards this week, and then announcing the big awards. You know what bothered me about this whole process? Like, did we really need to spend like 5 days giving out awards? Just do it on one night. Like,
yeah, I don't get that. I don't get the whole
unnecessary. By the way, for those watching, it is No Shave November, and I am participating as much as I can.
Just say, actually, like you look at your dad.
And that's normally why I do not have a mustache.
You look just like your dad. Yeah.
Comments like that is why I normally don't have a mustache.
It's not a bad thing in case Mr. Velasquez is watching.
Yeah, he's at my sister's house with my nephew. My nephew just turned 1 on Saturday. Happy birthday, Adam.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I saw that. That's awesome.
So, Executive of the Year. Let's just go from the top to bottom. We'll announce all the awards that went out this year for MLB and whether or not we agree and or disagree with the results. Executive of the Year went to Mike Elias of the Baltimore Orioles.
That's solid.
And based on the team that he put together, the turnaround that they had, I don't see a problem with that at all.
I think that's fine. That's a fine pick.
I think he's done an outstanding job with that organization. And you know what? I'm a Yankee fan, but if somebody's going to beat the Yankees, I'm glad it's the Orioles because I think they deserve it. Their fans deserve it. And good for them. They had a good season. You know, they had a very good season. And
yeah, I mean, they've been like kind of the doormat of the AL East for quite some time. So good for them to finally have some success. So good for them.
So the Players' Choice Award, right? So the Player of the Year, which is it's picked by the players, is Ronald Acuna Jr., who had an outstanding season.
Yeah, he did.
The Roberto Clemente Award, which is a great award, it really is, was given to Aaron Judge. Earned his first Roberto Clemente Award. That's a big deal. Anybody who watches sports, if you watch football, then you know about the Walter Payton Award. I was this close to saying Gale Sayers. Same right team, wrong guy.
Yeah.
But it's similar to the Walter Payton Award. I think the NBA, they call it Man of the Year or something like that.
I think it's something like that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, the NBA has one too. I'm sure the NHL has one. I just don't know what kind of trophy it is because the NHL's got about 30 different types of trophy, and they're all like the Sir Lady Bean Award and the Sir.
They named it to someone who we don't know, and then you don't even know what it is.
Aaron Judge wins the Roberto Clemente Award, and you know what? I think a lot of players find that to be a more like prestigious award than like MVP.
Yeah, I heard that recently, which I didn't know. But yeah, they said it's like winning an MVP and have a Roberto Clemente Award is like a really big deal. The fact that he's won both in his career, and he is a Rookie of the Year too. So,
and the other wild thing is, as of 2 years ago, now if you've won a Roberto Clemente Award, then you're allowed to wear the number 21 on the back of your hat.
Oh, throughout the year.
Throughout the year, so Anthony Rizzo throughout the year has a 21 on the back of his hat. Because he's previously won the Roberto Clemente Award.
He's won before. That's and now I didn't realize that they could do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Walter Payton Award. They wear the
patch. I knew that. Yeah, that's cool.
In MLB, now you wear a 21 on the back, like right above the MLB logo. There's a 21.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And you know what? These guys should be recognized. Another Roberto Clemente Award winner that I always liked was Curtis Granderson.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he won the Roberto Clemente Award, if not once, maybe possibly twice. Curtis Granderson did a lot for the community everywhere that he played, not just in New York or in Detroit, but like everywhere that he could have an effect. He did have an effect, and Curtis Granderson won the Roberto Clemente Award in 2016. So I think that award for taking care of the community, giving back to the community. Is just it should be recognized, and it should be given so much respect as the players are giving it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they take it to the next level as like it being extra important.
Yeah,
they should, because it is. Giving back to the community will never not be a good thing. This is what the hat looks like. Might be difficult to see, but you got a 21.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
With black and yellow.
There's Rizzo wearing it too.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool that they get that. I guess they get a patch too.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But
that's Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, but good for Aaron Judge, and we move on with the awards issued out. Silver Sluggers, and you know what? Silver Sluggers, I don't think we can argue with. They're based on numbers, right? They do it based off slugging percentage.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and go through non-positions too.
Yeah, in both the American and National.
And the National League, yeah. Same thing with Gold Glove. Gold Glove, we can just talk about that. Anthony Volpe won one.
Anthony Volpe won the Gold Glove, and you know what the crazy part for me about Anthony Volpe winning a Gold Glove is? Everybody sat there and it's like, oh, he's a second baseman.
I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna guess what you're gonna say is that everyone told us, and maybe it was the media, whoever it was, that Anthony Volpe can't play shortstop. He's not good enough to play shortstop. They just want to Gold Glove.
Oswald Peraza should be playing shortstop. Peraza should be playing shortstop. Anthony Volpe's not good enough to play shortstop. He won a Gold Glove in his rookie season. I don't think any Yankees ever done that.
Yeah, they said it's never been done for the Yankees.
So good for Anthony Volpe. Let's clap it up for Anthony Volpe. Representing for all the Filipinos out there.
And you know what? This is funny. They said that they told him, you and Derek Jeter are the only Yankee shortstop to win a Gold Glove. And then he said, well, IKF played shortstop last year once, and he won a Gold Glove somewhere else. So it was nice for him to mention IKF, but he's still a good glove.
IKF won a Gold Glove playing third base, and for some reason the Yankees refused to play him at third base.
At third base, I know. Ridiculous.
Cool. Manager of the year, Skip Schumacher from the Marlins won Manager of the Year. I don't know why.
I'm trying to think nationally. I probably would have given it to what's his name, the Diamondbacks coach. No,
I would have as well. I have no idea.
So here's the problem where I always have with MLB too is that so they vote on them before the playoffs, and they don't announce it until after the playoffs. So, like, yeah, I mean, right now sitting here like, oh, why didn't the Diamondbacks guy get it? And it's gonna be, well, we voted before the postseason. We didn't know he was gonna bring his team to the World Series. You know what I mean?
So here's my problem, right? I don't think anybody sat there looking at Miami throughout the season and said, wow, that's a team to be reckoned with. Skip Schumacher is doing a hell of a fucking job. Miami ultimately got into the playoffs because now everybody except the Yankees makes the playoffs.
Oh, they did make the playoffs, right?
Yeah. And they got bounced out they played one game and that was it. Now, Torey Lovullo.
Well, technically 2 games now because he had to get swept.
Right? Either way, Torey Lovullo, on the other hand, the Diamondbacks are kind of on the radar all year long as contenders to win their division. I don't think anybody for the duration of the season thought the Marlins were any threat. I had them missing the playoffs by a hair more than I had them ever contending for. And I'm not talking about before the season. I'm talking about in September.
Yeah, they're 84-78.
If the Mets were remotely competent, the Marlins don't make the playoffs.
It's true.
You know what I mean? So, like, I don't understand Skip Schumacher winning. I mean, congratulations to him. I'm not mad. I don't get it. I just don't understand how they come up with that answer.
Oh, they played Philadelphia. Philadelphia beat them 2-0 in the playoffs. Yes, they got bounced quickly. I mean,
and what was it? 6 games over 500? Ooh.
They were 84. So, yeah, 6 games. Yeah, 2 games over 500, technically.
Oh,
you know what
my
I mean?
gosh.
I mean, well, yeah, it's like 84 and 78 with the numbers, but I'm saying, like, really, there are 2 games over 80.
I think that includes playoffs.
Oh, so.
Yeah, I think that includes playoffs.
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, yeah. I mean, good for him. I guess it's a good turnaround for the team, but.
I mean, I just, again, I'm looking.
The thing is, I can't sit here and say who did a better job in the National League besides Lovullo, right? Is that thing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't get it, but whatever.
Actually, again, you know what? You could actually argue that because they made the playoffs. You could argue that even before the postseason, before making the World Series, he has a great turnaround as well, considering they lost 100 games 2 years ago. Right? Isn't that what that was the thing?
Who's that? The Marlins?
No, the Diamondbacks.
Oh yeah. They finished with the same record on the season.
Diamondbacks and the
Marlins.
And they both third in the NL. I mean, they were the third in the NL East. What were the?
They were second in the West.
They were second in the West. They were competing for first place the entire year. I don't know. I probably would have given it to the Diamondbacks coach, but whatever. I'm not a.
I mean, they finished 16 games back, but whatever. When we move on, I would have gave it to Torey Lovullo, whatever. Corbin Carroll wins NL Rookie of the Year. I don't think there was a doubt about that one. I kind of had a.
You skipped over AL Manager.
Oh, excuse me. AL Manager of the Year, Brandon Hyde of the Baltimore Orioles. Clap it up.
I disagree, but
how do you figure? They won the AL East.
Oh, because they didn't win the division.
They won the AL East, and they went from a team that didn't make the playoffs for the last 30 years.
That's true. All right, I'll take it back.
Come on, man.
I would say Bruce Bochy because the same thing.
He had fucking 3 former Cy Young Award winners on his team.
Yeah, but only one of them played.
It doesn't matter. It's for the duration of the year, not just for one game or for the playoffs. We're not
talking. But DeGrom pitched like 2 games.
He pitched the first 10 games of the season that he could have pitched. He pitched until June, which is par for the course for DeGrom.
Yeah, all right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Either way, he could have gone either way.
He's still a mind on the bench. Like, if a coach is going to get credit for a player playing well, then a fellow player can also get credit. You know, it's like Doc Wingate teaching Hog Ellis how to throw a curveball. Same shit.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, they have that effect.
Moving on. NL Rookie of the Year, you said?
NL Rookie of the Year was Corbin Carroll from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I don't think there was any debate about that one. I saw that one coming a mile away. And the
what did he have? He was the first one to have 50 stolen bases and 20 home runs as a rookie or something like that.
That's a baseball stat. I couldn't give a fuck less. That's a baseball stat. We're just making shit up. He's the first player to have 65 RBI and 27 stolen bases and a 328 batting average. Like, we're just making numbers up. These are arbitrary numbers that mean nothing.
He's still the first one to ever do it though.
Like, if you want to sit there and say 40-40, okay, like 40-40. There's been like 3 guys ever to do it, like, but that's like an attainable number. 40-40. That's a significant.
Yeah.
Oh, he had 50 stolen bases and 10 home runs. Okay, who's the first guy to have 11 home runs? Like, the next guy will be the first guy to have 12 home runs. Like, are we really gonna do this?
Baseball, baby.
Baseball. He's the best hitter above the Mason-Dixon line, who plays their games in a dome, but not in America. So he's the best hitter in fucking Blue Jays. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
The AL Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson from the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles did a great job this year.
Well, that makes sense.
And that made sense too. I thought he did an outstanding job this season. He hit 28 home runs, 9 triples. He led both the Orioles and all AL rookies in WAR, which is a fake stat, so I don't really give a fuck. I just want to point out for all the Warriors out there that fucking love WAR. B-War, for those who don't know, B-War is baseballreference.com's version of WAR, okay? F-War is the Fangraphs version of WAR. His B-War score was 6.2. His F-War was 4.6. WAR is a fake stat.
What's the real WAR?
Fake.
What's the real WAR?
There's no such thing. It's an arbitrary thing. They just make up numbers. It's like Pro Football Focus. They just make shit up.
What was this BAPIP?
The BABIP is like I wish I would have got a hit stat. Like, it wasn't a hit, but it could have been a hit if it wasn't an out. That's what BABIP is.
That really, it honestly is. BAPIP is like the equivalent of just giving everybody a trophy, kind of like stat, right?
If BABIP is the equivalent of like, if that fucking guy wasn't there, that'd have been a hit. Okay, but he was. I mean, who gives a shit? He was like,
that's so
for all the BABIP in the world. There's some statistician sitting over there trying to figure out where to put the player so that your BABIP means jack shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? There's an adjustment for the defense to stop your BABIP from meaning anything. All right, that's why batting average is the greatest fucking stat, because there are no lies. The only time you could sit there and argue about batting average is if somebody gets a hit from the official scorer that you think shouldn't be a hit.
And you know what? Gunnar Henderson was the first rookie to have 9 triples and 28 home runs exactly.
And also 82 RBIs while scoring 100 runs.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I just came up with that.
Oh no, all those stats put together. He was the first person to have all those stats put together. Promise.
He definitely was.
The NL Cy Young Award winner was announced, I believe yesterday it was announced. Blake Snell continues to dominate through his major league career on a team that doesn't dominate anything. But good for Blake Snell.
Only the 7th pitcher to do it. To win in both leagues. Cy Young in both leagues, 7th pitcher.
Scherzer's one of them.
Yeah, Randy Johnson, Pedro, Gaylord Perry.
Pedro.
I can't remember the other 2.
It's impressive. Good for them.
Impressive list.
The Cy Young Award for the American League was our very own Garrett Cole, who had an outstanding season.
Well deserved.
Very well deserved.
Wasted like Blake Snell's, but
wasted like Blake Snell's, 100%. And now the MVP. The NL MVP went to Ronald Acuna Jr.,
which makes sense.
The first player to be part of the 40-70 club. Okay, I guess. That's not a thing. I just want everybody know right now, 40-70 is not a thing.
Don't make me laugh. I was dealing with a stomach bug, and obviously, like when I throw up a lot, my body gets sore. And now that I was sick, every time I laugh, it just hurts my chest.
Especially in 2023, where they move the bases closer to each other, they limit the amount of pickoffs you can take, and there's a pitch clock. You might as well look at the runner and go, "I'm throwing a home plate now," and let the guy run. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
The AL MVP.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I guess so. The AL MVP won by Shohei Ohtani.
What was his B-War?
a lot of these fucking big awards were won by people that had no effect on the overall outcome of the sport of baseball. Like both Cy Youngs and the AL MVP, if none of them played
in the postseason,
nobody would have missed anything.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like nobody gives a shit about the Angels anyway. I don't know who this guy's going to play for, but I'm interested to see what happens when he plays in games that people are actually watching.
He said he wants to go to Atlanta. That was one of the things they said.
Oh, yeah? He knows that the Southerners don't like non-white folk, right? Just saying. Like, Atlanta and Texas might not be the places to go to.
He should go to San Francisco, LA Dodgers. LA Dodgers.
San Francisco would lose their damn minds if he went to San Fran. They would lose their minds. Absolutely.
It'd be a good market for him. It'd be a
great market for him. Lastly, in other baseball-related news, two things, and then we'll move on from baseball. The Oakland Athletics got approval from all owners to move from Oakland to Las Vegas, so that seems like that's in the bag. That's happening.
Yeah, they're gone.
So
good for them, though. That's,
you know what? I don't like the way they went about it. They pulled the fucking major league, okay? They sabotaged the franchise for years to make zero money so that they could justify not staying in Oakland. And I just don't agree with that. If it gets to an impasse where your stadium is now unsafe and you have to move because you need a new stadium because your stadium's falling apart and like fans are dying in the stands because pieces of the bleachers above them are falling down and killing them, then yeah, I get it. But to physically sabotage your franchise so that you can leave the city, I don't agree with that. That's Rachel Phelps. That's Major League.
But
that's the plot of Major League.
But Oakland has been losing other teams. The Raiders are in Vegas. The Warriors are in San Francisco.
I understand that. I get that. But what I'm saying is that the Raiders didn't sabotage their franchise to do that. People were still going to the games.
Yeah, but they couldn't get a new stadium either because they were playing the same stadium as they did.
I got that. But what I'm saying is that, and the other problem is that Mark Davis reached out to the fucking Athletics and said, I'll fit the bill 50-50 with you.
Oh, really?
To renovate the Coliseum. And the Athletics were like, no, we're not doing that.
So he's like, I'm going to Vegas then.
That's what it became. And the city's like, well, we're not building you another stadium.
Oh, so
that's what it comes down to. They want the city to build them the stadium for them.
Yeah, they don't want to pay for it. I know.
Right. You're a fucking multi-billionaire. Pay for your own shit.
Yeah. You sound like Bill Simmons. Remember that Bill Simmons? The TV show on HBO? He was like, Bill Simmons, now uncensored. And he's like, billionaires put for their own fucking stadium. And that was like their.
Who the fuck is Bill Simmons?
You know who Bill Simmons is?
Not a clue.
He's your boy Yaz's boss, basically. The Undisputed? Is that Undisputed? Is that what it's called? Not Undisputed. Undisputed is the other thing. What is it called? I'm gonna look it up right now. Bill Simmons, he's like a huge sports writer.
Is he?
Yeah.
He looks like a total douche. He looks like a major league douchebag.
Oh, The Ringer, not Undisputed. The Ringer.
I don't know who the guy is.
The Ringer, like podcast network. Like it's a Bill Simmons podcast. He's a podcaster. He's a sports guy.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure he's somebody. He's a drink mogul. But the point is I don't know who he is. Like,
I'm surprised you don't know that. He's the one your boy Yaz works for.
That's great.
For his New York, what is it? New York podcast. What is it called?
Yes, I believe so. But Oakland Athletics it seems like it's all signed, sealed, delivered. They are going to Las Vegas. And last in baseball news, apparently Brian Cashman kind of called out Giancarlo Stanton. And Giancarlo Stanton's representation not too happy about it.
No. First of all, he should. First of all, Cashman, 100% correct. 100% correct. But as a general manager, you probably shouldn't say it.
You know what? Especially like when you might be trying to like trade him or something like that. So what Cashman said was the injury plagues Stanton, right? Because Stanton gets injured every year. He goes, he's probably going to end up getting hurt again, more likely than not, because it seems to be part of his game.
You know what Cashman's doing? Cashman, you won't get this reference because you've never seen the show, but in Seinfeld, George Costanza tries to get fired from the Yankees, and he starts going through those, eating strawberries on top of Babe Ruth jersey. He's destroying the World Series trophies, and they won't fire him. And the reason why he's doing is he wants a assistant GM job with the Mets, and they won't get rid of him. I feel like that's what Cashman's like. I need to get out of here. I'm done with the Yankees. I want to get fired. And he's just saying whatever the hell he wants. Because last week he cursed too. He was like, "We're a good fucking team, and I don't need to defend it." And then House Feinberg is like, "I agree with him, but he probably shouldn't have been cursing that much."
Yeah. So Joel Wolf.
Yeah, Joe Wolf answered back for Stan. Yeah. He's his agent. But Joe Wolf, the other part of this, the little wrinkle to it, is that he's also Yamamoto's, the Yankees' big free agent target. He's his agent as well.
Yep. And the comment that Joel Wolf made was, I read the context of the entire interview. I think it's a good reminder for all free agents considering signing in New York, both foreign and domestic, that to play for that team, you've got to be made of Teflon, both mentally and physically, because you can never let your guard down, even in the off season. It's not really the harshest thing I've ever heard said, but it's definitely not. When you say foreign and domestic, first of all, Mr. Wolf, you're not talking about swearing an oath to defend the United States and the Constitution of the United States. All right. So cogelo con tequerisi. All right. Relax.
I think that sounds like one of your oaths that you would have taken.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I raised my right hand. Actually, Coop did too.
And the funny thing is when you get sworn into the bar, they actually say the same thing. I don't know why. It's really weird.
Against enemies, foreign and domestic. They mentioned foreign and domestic.
I believe so. It's very weird. Yeah.
That's weird. I got to start asking people what the Hippocratic Oath says. I'll defend it from diseases, both foreign and domestic. So, yeah, the little bit of tension in Yankee Town, but we move forward and we digress into other things. Let's get into a little I don't even want to talk about this. The Jets suck right now. It is what it is. A lot of people blaming Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson didn't play bad on Sunday. I don't care what anybody said. And people sit there and be like, oh, the guy's taking sacks. He's taking sacks. He's taking sacks. We'll look at the field, see that nobody's open. All right. I don't know what you do at that point. I guess you want him to throw the ball away instead of taking the sack so that his completion percentage will then go from like 68% to 50%. Right. And then you'll bitch about how he has a low completion percentage. So it's like he's fucked no matter what he does. And you kind of just got to be like, listen, like I feel for the kid. I honestly do. I hope he leaves this team, goes to a different franchise, becomes a franchise player, wins 5 Super Bowls. And when he goes to the Hall of Fame, they ask him what happened in New York. He just sits there and lets Jets fans have it because the amount of people, like people sitting there going, we got to get rid of this quarterback. He's the problem. If you think that there's anybody other than Aaron Rodgers, and even Aaron Rodgers might show some difficulty with the way that Allen Lazard drops fucking passes, this offensive line gets caught holding, false starts, time after time after time. If you think that he's making that much of a difference, I got an island on the moon to sell you because I don't see it. I don't see how, like I'm watching the game on Sunday, Zach Wilson completes a 3rd down pass to get them within scoring of and CJ Uzama gets called for holding, or somebody gets called for a false start.
They scored a touchdown, and Uzama had another holding.
Yeah. That touchdown wins them the game. By the way, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But it's Zach Wilson's fault. Robert Saleh came out and said, "Hey, and you know what? People are sitting there going, oh, they need to fire Ulbrich, they need to fire Saleh, but they want to give all the credit in the world to the defense." I just would like to point out to everybody that's saying fire Robert Saleh, you do know that he's the head coach, correct? He gets some credit for the defense too, right?
Yeah, he has
to. Arguably the best defense in the NFL. You got to give him some. So he hasn't figured it out on offense yet, and it's partially due to sorry about that. It's partially due to the fact that we have a Hall of Fame quarterback who picked his offensive coordinator, and we're not firing friggin' Nathaniel Hackett. It's not going to happen. He's homeboys with Rodgers. That's the only reason he got this job. All right. Yeah. Like that scene in the beginning of freaking the first episode of Friday Night Lights, where the coach is like listening to people on the radio, and they're like, the only reason he got this job is because Jason Street liked him, and now Jason Street's paralyzed, and the coach is like, they're right. I only got this job because of Jason. Now I don't know what to do. That's Nathaniel Hackett right now. But they can't fire Hackett because A-Raj, he ain't crippled. He's playing.
I also want to say, I agree with you. I didn't think Zach Wilson was terrible. He had that awesome play where he almost scored. He had he was like an inch out of bounds on his foot. That was a really nice play by him.
People sitting there going, oh, but he stepped out of bounds. I'm like, okay, so he got them 60 yards or something like that on his drive. He got them to like the 3-yard line, and they still couldn't fucking score as a team. Like who's helping him? That's what I want to know.
Well, Nick, on that drive, he puts him like the 3-yard line, 2-yard line, something like that. They do score, but Uzama held the player.
And then you go from 3rd and 3 or something like that to now it's 3rd and 13.
Yeah. So you didn't even get, and then so like you can't even get another shot like that close in to score the touchdown.
And then somebody will sit there and be like, "Oh, but he got picked off." And then meanwhile, I don't like Bart Scott. He's a racist piece of garbage. But Bart Scott even came out and said that's on Lazard because he ran a lazy ass fucking route.
You know, going back to Saleh though. You're right. Like he needs to have some sort of, first of all, he's a defensive mind, right? He's a defensive coach. So he's the one who's helping build that defense and making it that good. I know there's obviously a defensive coordinator, but he's the head coach. He's a defensive guy. You know, he's in with the defense, right? He's building that defense up, and the defense is amazing. So if you think your defense is good, then you have to give him that credit. You can't just be like, we have to fire him because the offense stinks. He's not an offensive mind. You didn't bring him in there to run the offense.
I will say this because we talked to Coach Westhoff about this, and I asked him. I was like, Robert Saleh when he played football in college, he was a tight end. So somehow he gets to the NFL, and he's a defensive coach, and everybody's like, "Oh, defensive coaches don't know anything about offense." Really? Because the man played tight end. Like I don't understand how he goes from playing offense, like being on the offense, like not just being around the offense, but physically being a part of the offense. And then all of a sudden he goes to being like a coach, and all of a sudden he's just forgotten everything there is to do with offense.
Well, how long ago was it that he was a tight end though?
So, but I don't know if you remember what Coach Westhoff told us.
No, I wasn't. That was the one. I wasn't on that episode.
Oh, you missed that one? So Coach says it's really because Coach played both ways in college, and he went from defense to offense. Yeah. He was an offensive line coach. He was a defensive backs coach. And it's like, how do you figure that crap out? He goes, Sean Payton knows everything there is to know about defense, but he is special on offense. And that's why Sean is an offensive coach. He's like, every coach knows, because in order to be a defensive coach, you have to understand the offense.
That's true.
Because you need to understand the things that you're going to stop.
Makes sense.
So both sides. It's just about what you're special at. And I thought Coach made a very poignant point there. And he's right. Robert Saleh knows what a good offense looks like because he has to come up with a scheme to beat a good offense every week. It's about execution. Now, me personally, I feel that the penalties, whatever they're doing to these players, is not resounding in their brains to penalize them for all the lack of discipline. Two things. One, I do think that the referees specifically look for the Jets to penalize them because they have a reputation as being penalized. So I think a lot of referees will sit there and beat up on the Jets simply because, I heard the Jets do a lot of penalties. So I'm going to look for it now. It's a lazy way of officiating, but it's the way that they officiate nevertheless, right? It's like that in every sport, right? Like you're going to see the best hockey players get calls that other hockey players are not going to get, right? You're going to see pitchers get calls that other pitchers aren't going to get. And why is that? Well, you have a reputation for throwing strikes. They're not going to call balls on you.
LeBron James,
another guy, like he's got a reputation as being the best. So I guess as an officiant, you have to sit there, or as an official, you have to sit there and think like, well, people are going to hack at him because he's the best.
Yeah.
So, or he's so good, he doesn't need to flop. He does. But, I get it, but at the same time, like the Jets don't get calls made against them. For them, I should say. We haven't gotten a roughing the passer penalty in like 3. I think we've gotten 2 in the last 3 years, which is absolutely ludicrous.
That's actually crazy.
Holding with our defensive line, there honestly is holding done on every single play. Nobody ever gets called for holding, ever. We remember earlier in the season where Jermaine Johnson literally like looking at the referee like, hey, man, this guy won't let go of my jersey. He's all the way out here. He's pulling me from the side, turning me around. Can I get a damn penalty? And the ref was like, what you talking about, man? The guy ain't doing nothing to you. Beat him.
Yeah.
And it's wild. But something has to be done about the lack of discipline. Something has to be done about the false starts, about the holding. And one thing was done. Michael Carter was cut from the New York Jets. Honestly, happy trails. I'm not sorry to see you. It's a bad one. The running back, Michael Carter. defensive back. Not Michael Carter II, Michael Carter. A lot of fans are upset. Not fans, excuse me. A lot of the players are upset over the loss of this locker room presence. I guess he was very well liked in the locker room. Mm-hmm. I get it. He's a locker room presence, but do you want to win games or do you want to be friends? Because I'm a believer in what Bob Sugar says in Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
And I'll play the clip for you real quick. It's not show friends, it's show business. I am so fans do the same shit too. We did it with Brett Gardner for years, where people like the guy because he's nice, doesn't really add anything to the team, but you love his personality, so you want him there. And I just don't understand that. If he's not going to add to you winning, then his attitude doesn't mean dick. That's why you have coaches, for attitude. They don't add anything to the game physically. They add personality beyond the game. So, losing a guy who's going to drop passes and get called for clipping and get called for low blocks and really provide nothing else, but he's a nice guy in the clubhouse, cool. You're fired as a player. If you want to hang out in the clubhouse, by all means, sit in the locker room. We'll pay you to be the best friend of the other guys. But he's moved on, and he's now with the Arizona Cardinals. He got picked up by them. And Robbie Chosen, formerly known as Robbie Anderson, got cut by the Dolphins today.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, right? It's like that guy left the Jets and disappeared off the face of the planet Earth.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything.
He is no longer a sun god.
All right, well, enough about the Jets. Let's get into some New York Giants football.
Do the Giants still play football?
If you call it football.
Okay. Tell me about Tommy DeVito.
First of all, I love Tommy DeVito. I want him to be good so bad. It was funny. I was watching him with my wife, and I was like, this Tommy DeVito. I'm like, I want him to be such a good quarterback because his name is awesome. He's from New Jersey, Italian family. They showed his family in the stands. His nice Italian family. Dad looked like he was from The Sopranos.
Don't be that guy.
And I'm like, I would love if Tommy DeVito went on like a Linsanity run. This nice Italian kid, undrafted rookie from Syracuse, up north New York. Oh my God. I was like, I wish it would be so good. So I told my wife, I just want to be good, but he's so bad. And she's like, oh, is he? And then he throws a touchdown. I'm like, babe, it's 28-7.
I hate that. Don't be that guy. My mom is that person.
So I told her, I was like,
my mom is that person that in the 90s, she'd root for Juan Gonzalez because he was Puerto Rican, and we'd be at Yankee Stadium, and she'd be like, let's go, Juan. I'm like, Ma, he's on the Rangers. We want the Yankees to win. What the fuck are we doing? I'm
saying Tommy DeVito's on my team, so there's more reason for me to cheer for him. So I told her, I was like, if Tommy DeVito
wins, he's Italian.
So I was like, if Tommy DeVito wins this game somehow, comes back at 28 down 28-0, I was like, I'll buy his jersey. My wife goes, I don't know why you think I care. Like, what do you think I care about?
God bless her. God bless her.
I was like, you're right. You don't. And then he threw a ball downfield.
Shit like that.
He threw a ball downfield. I was like, let's go. I'm like, Tommy's airing it out. I scream in the house. She's like, did you call me? I'm like, no. Interception. It's not exciting. But no, I mean, it is what it is. You have a third string undrafted rookie playing quarterback for your team right now. I mean, obviously they're not that good. The defense kind of lost its heart with Leo gone, so it's tough. I mean, it is what it is. They're 2-7 right now. You know what they're looking for? Probably a draft pick later on, and they're slotted for number 2 right now. Hopefully, I mean, I don't like watching my team lose. I still want them to win. I still want to see Tommy DeVito play well. They're playing the Commanders. Maybe they'll get a win this week. I enjoy it to see my team win. People probably tell me I'm crazy because don't you want to draft a quarterback or Marvin Harrison Jr. make the team better? But
even at this point, though,
you need offensive line. You have to build an offensive line here at this point.
You're still not number 1 or 2. So you're not like
no, they're number 2. The Giants.
There's a plethora of quarterbacks in this year's draft.
I know you don't have to be number 2.
You don't have to be. You could be number 5. And if we've learned anything over the course of the last 4 drafts, only number 1 really matters. But everybody else is a crapshoot. And even number 1 here and there, it's like,
Look at the 2018 draft. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, right? All those guys never panned out. Who panned out? Josh Allen,
Lamar Jackson,
and Lamar Jackson who's picked 32nd. Like, you don't you don't need. And the Ravens traded up to get him in the first round because he was probably going to go to the second round. And who's the best one out of those two? Lamar won an MVP. I mean, Josh Allen's having a down year, but he's had good seasons. And those were not the top guys that were coming out of college.
Trevor Lawrence was taken, and honestly, Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be the next coming of Jesus. Honestly, I don't see what it's just like. Trevor Lawrence to me is just Andrew Luck 2.0. Like, I never saw anything special about Andrew Luck, and I don't see anything special about Trevor Lawrence right now.
I watch the Jags because I do. That's like my second team. I watch him. He's a good quarterback. He makes nice throws, but he doesn't excite me.
He's confident. There's nothing. You know who's killing it right now? The freaking kid down, huh?
Josh Dobbs.
No, no.
CJ Stroud. No, CJ Stroud.
Stroud is fucking killing it right now.
Yeah, he is. You're right. And they said don't take him because
he is special.
They said don't take him because he had the S2, the cognition test or whatever it's called. He failed it. And then recently someone asked him, he's like, I'm not a test taker, I'm a football player. Which is true. Who cares whether he fails S2? Bryce Young did well on it. They took Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. I bet if you're any Carolina fan, who do you want right now? Would you want CJ Stroud or do you want Bryce Young?
It's a great question. But
anyway, back to the Giants for real quick. Just a real quick point. I'm not in that group of Giants fans that want Brian Daboll fired. I think there's a lot of injuries. I think we knew this team had no depth, that as soon as they had any injuries, which they've had a lot of injuries at the offensive line, we knew they weren't going to be good. So I don't blame Brian Daboll. He did a lot with the team last year, made one coach of the year, won a playoff game. And I say people he should be gone, he should be fired. You can't ask for blood. I think everyone needs to be patient. The Giants have gone through, I think, 3 straight coaches that only made it 2 seasons. Barely. Joe Judge got fired early, I think, and so did Ben McAdoo. I think only Pat Shimmer did the whole full 2 seasons. But let's be a little patient here, Giants fans. It's like, take it easy. Let's try to give someone a chance here, try to succeed, and try to build something with what we have. And I think Schoen and Daboll let's give them a little bit more grace than just a 2-year period. Consider we giving Gettleman got like 9 or 10 years and destroyed the franchise. So
I agree. I mean, you got to see what you're out. In other news, speaking of Daboll, Ken Dorsey's fired as offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Which the reason I say speaking of Daboll is that obviously is Brian Daboll's former position as the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen took exception to it, and he kind of said he kind of made it feel like it was his fault because he likes Ken Dorsey and didn't feel like he deserved to get fired. But and honestly, comments like that are nice, but at the same token, you're still there and he's not. Keep your mouth shut.
And I think too with that, I mean, Josh Allen, since Daboll left, he hasn't been as amazing. Daboll was his offensive coordinator. Ken Dorsey was underneath Daboll as well. I think he was a quarterback's coach or something like that. He was something.
So, here's my problem with it, right? Everybody in the AFC East did something to make their team better somewhere, right? The Bills didn't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like the Bills didn't really do much.
The Bills didn't do anything. They drafted people, I guess, but that's a crapshoot. You don't know if somebody's going to pan out through the draft. But the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, and that's their big splash. The Dolphins, they got players here and there. They picked up Jalen Ramsey, to shore up their defense. The Patriots, they really didn't do much either. But like the Bills kind of just rested on their laurels, and they were just like, well, we're just going to continue to be good. And it's like, listen, there's an evolution to the game in general. Every sport, one team does one thing and everybody else plays catch up thereafter. We see it in football a lot with defenses where you go from 3-4s to 4-3s to 46s to nickels and dimes. You see it a lot. The offense changes something on the offense. The defense then catches up the following year. Like, remember for a little bit, we were watching Wildcat offenses all over the place.
Yeah.
What the fuck was going on during that time frame, but it happened. So I don't think the Bills did anything to evolve, to try to take their game to the next level at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they did. I'm trying to think of any big name signings they had, and I don't think there really was anything.
They honestly just rested on their laurels, and it's showing. Josh Allen's leading the league in interceptions right now.
Yeah, and also, speaking of defenses, what reminded me was, because we were talking about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence got annihilated by the Niners defense this year. I mean, this past week. And do you remember who they added at the deadline?
the Niners. They added a defensive end. Who'd they add?
Chase Young from the Commanders.
That's right.
You have Chase Young on one side, and you have Joey Bosa. Not Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa.
Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa. You've got Bosa.
Nick Bosa's on the Chargers.
Joey's in the other Chargers. Nick Bosa. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looked like he was having a lot of trouble with those two. I mean, who wouldn't? Yeah, your right tackle, left tackle have to be amazing to keep both those guys at bay. That's gonna be a tough defense, and they already were a good team. So look at the Niners making moves.
In other football-related news, not necessarily the NFL, we're talking about college football. The college football playoffs is starting to shore up a little bit. Top 4 teams are already kind of in there, but one of them is more than likely going to get kicked out right now.
That's Florida State.
No, they're not number 1. It's right now the top 4 teams in college football are Florida State. Not necessarily in no order because I don't have the AP in front of me right now.
No, it's Georgia, Ohio State,
Michigan, and Florida State.
Yeah, Michigan and Ohio State are playing each other soon, so one of them.
One of them is going to lose, but I could see the AP sitting there and kind of giving them a top 5 spot, regardless. Despite the fact that honestly, like the Michigan hasn't played anybody. I think their first big game was this week. That was their first game, like against. Against anybody. So it's I'm unimpressed with Michigan overall. I really am. Their schedule so far this season has been underwhelming. They played Penn State, and I didn't like Penn State. I didn't think Penn State was anything special.
Penn State's not that good. They had once they played against Michigan, they got exposed like every year. That coach, he's been there for such a long time, but like I feel like he never does anything. Right
now, this is the Michigan schedule, and I'm not even talking about this season. Like, I'll throw this out there. Like, traditionally, these teams are not good. East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska hasn't been good since the 90s. Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, and finally Ohio State. They're in the top 5. Are we serious right now? I get they're undefeated, but so is James Madison. Put them in the top 5.
Maryland actually had a pretty good season this year.
Not that good.
Not that good, but still, I mean, they're a decent opponent. I mean, it's the Big Ten, though. They're playing Big Ten teams.
I got that, but if you're going to do it based on the AP and not their actual overall schedule, then Maryland's 6-4. I mean,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't make your schedule. I understand that, but you kind of do because you don't have to play all of your games against the Big Ten teams because East Carolina, not a Big Ten team.
Yeah, and if you actually go to Ohio State, they played like Notre Dame this year and they beat Notre Dame.
There you go.
Notre Dame.
Florida State plays Florida and LSU this year. Now, I'm not saying Florida's good, but I'm saying is they go out of their way to play 2 teams in the SEC.
Yeah, no, that I agree with you.
Like Michigan goes out of their way not to play anybody. I can't stand fucking Jim Harbaugh. I think he's a low-life human being.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but obviously the controversy with him, he's suspended the rest of the Big Ten season. So
yes, he is
because of his cheating ways.
And again, he's a piece of shit human. I think. I mean, I haven't liked him since his days at Stanford when he dropped that school and went to the NFL after going into people's homes, telling parents that he'll take care of their kids. And then dipped before the season started. Last thing about college football, James Madison University is 10-0, and they are not eligible for a bowl game because they moved up from in the FBS. Yeah. So they moved from the FCS to the FBS, and rules state that when you change your, I don't even know what to call it. It's not a conference. Your division, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, your
level of competitive play, that you are not eligible for a championship at the next level or the lower level. And I think that rule is made so that teams can't go from the FCS to the FBS and just win the championship the following season.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And they just had to make it 2-way. They didn't make it like if you go down, they made it if you go down or you go up.
Yeah, it makes sense. They do the same thing in college basketball too. You see we've seen teams who've actually, I think it happened last year, the NEC, which is Northeast Conference, small conference in basketball, but it was the team that won was their first year in NCAA Division I, and the team that lost in the final actually made it to the big March Madness tournament because the other team wasn't eligible at that time. So,
but people are upset because James Madison can't get into a bowl game, and they're like, "This is a stupid rule." Well, A, it's not a stupid rule, and B, you did it knowing the rules.
Yeah.
It's almost like people are just like, I don't like the rule. We should just get rid of it. And they don't think about A, the repercussions of it, or the fact that they agreed to it in the first place. But this seems to be like it's a sports thing, right? Like a player agrees to a contract. He has a great first year. He's got like 3 years left on his contract. And he's like, I want a new contract. Dude, you put your hand to paper. You put your name on the paper and you agreed to that. And you said it's good. Oh, but the team doesn't have to agree to it. Yeah, they do. The team is held liable with that contract too. It's just that you got the shitty end of the stick because you have a shitty agent. I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's the case, and that's what's going on right now with James Madison. They knew what would happen if they moved up into the FCS, into the FBS. They agreed to it before the season started, but now since they're successful, this isn't fair. It was fair before you started.
Yeah, I mean that's just the rule. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It sucks, but
you could change the rule moving forward, or they can allow the waiver now. But if you allow the waiver now, then you might as well throw the whole rule book away.
It just, I don't know. It doesn't, it's stupid. It's a rule that makes sense, but I mean, it's annoying, but it kind of makes sense. So what are you going to do?
Let's talk about hockey real quick. Rangers had a good game on Sunday. I believe it was Sunday, and that's the last time we saw them this week because the hockey schedule is crazy. How do you not play for 5 days?
It's actually kind of insane. I know that there's like a thing with like, basketball's playing the same time. The Knicks
I don't give a fuck. No, I don't care.
No, wait, let me finish. Because even if the Knicks played, right, 2 times in Madison Square Garden this week, it doesn't matter because we've still seen days where the Rangers are playing or the Knicks will play in the morning or the afternoon, and then they play at night. Rangers.
What is going on?
So it doesn't really matter about being in the same stadium.
I hate if I ever meet the guy that makes the NHL schedule, I swear to God, we're going to have a misunderstanding and I'm going to break his teeth on the curb. I swear to God.
What do you call it? Just letting you know what watching this game live. Lamar Jackson just went to the sideline, and then Mark Andrews is out too, which is pretty big loss for the Ravens right now.
He's going into the blue tent, but that's all I've got. You wanted to get into a little golf talk.
I did. Tiger Woods. He got sued. I don't know if everyone remembers this, but he got sued by his ex-girlfriend for sexual assault and like harassment by him and like his agents and like his representatives, party, whatever. So she recently just dropped or withdrew her case due to the fact that several documents that came out during the process of the court proceeding discovery and stuff, that she actually said she was never actually assaulted or sexually assaulted by anyone or harassed by anyone. So I get why we have these rules or these laws in place that protect people from, to be able to come out and they protect them from being sued. But I feel like it's getting a little bit, I think it might be getting a little out of hand because this happens quite often, especially with high public figures. I'm not saying low level people, which is most of the reason why we have this law, because the people protects everyone, not just the high, celebrities and people who date the celebrities, stuff like that. But I feel like when it comes to celebrities, it happens very often. And you actually see it going on right now in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The guy who's supposed to play Kang, who's the big villain, who's going to be part of the Avengers plan, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
He got sued or charged. I think he was charged criminally.
Yeah.
For his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, saying he assaulted her. And she actually dropped those charges. Those charges actually were dropped completely. And they're like, we're moving in a different direction. We're not going to use this character anymore.
But he was actually on fire at that point. He'd already been in Creed 3. He'd done Devotion.
He had the TV show on, I think was that him? He had a TV show on HBO too.
What's that?
I can't remember the name of it. It was one with the girl from the Cosby Show. She's all grown up now. Oh no, she's from I'm trying to blank. Not Full House. What was that show called? I mean, I'll just look up his
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, that's him. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a big show on HBO too. And his whole career is like shot. And he even at the time when this first happened, he was actually on the Army recruiting.
Yes. He was.
And then I was like, oh, wow, look at that. He's even doing the Army commercials. And then as soon as it came out, those commercials were done.
Those are good commercials, too. They brought back the Be All You Can Be.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to go back retro into the 90s. I love it.
Yeah. And I get there, but there has to be some sort of rule in place with people who bring these allegations.
Rule. There has to be a law for a crying wolf.
Yeah, I didn't look into it, but there has to be something that says like, because it's not fair, because what happens now is when, let's say, just a regular girl gets sexually assaulted by a regular guy who's not a celebrity, anything like that. People are going to start saying to her, well, this happens all the time, right? People lie about this. And like that girl really might be being like, no, I really was, but now I'm afraid to come out. People are going to call me a liar. And the whole reason why there's no retaliation is to protect them from that.
And that's the thing for me, is that like I've had to deal with that, where somebody was going to file a complaint against somebody else. Two of my soldiers got into an altercation, and one was going to file a complaint against the other. And I was like, first of all, I want you to understand the severity of the complaint that you want to fucking file right now. And then I also want you to understand this is fucking like it was legitimately the most baby shit. Oh, he called me a name, but the name wasn't like malicious, and it wasn't racial, it wasn't sexual, it was like if he called her poopy head. She's like, I'm gonna file an equal opportunity complaint against this man. And I'm just like, you guys are like fucking children, like kindergartners right now. Are you serious right now? So you're willing to end his career because he called you? She had a cast, or like she was on crutches, and he called her tripod. And
it doesn't even make sense.
Wait, say again?
Doesn't even make sense because she has 4.
No, she had one leg in the air.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, yeah, now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, really? So you want to end his career because he called you tripod? I'm like, this is some baby shit. Why are you wasting my time? Like, I was like, you do realize when you do stuff like that, it makes it harder for the next person to get theirs, right? You realize that, right? You're cheapening the entire process.
And that's what's happening. I agree. That's actually exactly what's happening, because now she was on the record. A court document came out saying that she was never sexually assaulted. So she completely fabricated the whole thing.
Same thing that happened with Trevor Bauer.
Oh, yeah, that happened too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about it. We didn't go into that. But yeah, I mean, that one I have to go into more, because that one, like, I didn't look at all the details, but I mean, he was pretty much found. I mean, she dropped the case too. Well, they mutually, it was a civil case.
I think
she did to drop it.
Well, she was losing. I think he countersued her.
But yeah, no. And the thing is about it is that in the settlement, he said, "I'm not doing an NDA." He's like, "I want to be able to tell my story about this now."
Right.
And he came out with that video, which I didn't get a chance to watch that, but
good for him. No, I saw it.
He was like, "Yeah, I'll agree to drop both lawsuits. I don't need money. You don't get my money. I don't take any of yours. I don't care. But I just want to be able to talk about everything
on the whole fucking world about this shit."
Yeah, and tell you about the text messages, everything. That's right. I forgot about that.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Wild week in sports.
Knicks are back.
Say again?
Knicks are back.
Nick. That's all we got. Sorry, we were going to get into the Knicks just now, but we only got about 45 seconds before this show is over. From all of us here at the Scoreboard Addicts podcast, we love you. We'll catch you again next week, and hopefully TJ will be back with us. Our thoughts and prayers with him and his buddies.
Jalen Brunson's a god. Let's
go. Adios, señores y señoritas.